I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another review. This is another paid request, this time for Brandon. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos or reviews or re-reviews or randomness or reactions or topics or anything, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box, if you wish to. Sorry, I should have done that before I turned on the camera, but I'm too stupid, so let's go along with that. And speaking of stupid, but you know what, it wasn't bad. It's called Zapped. It's from the 80s, 1982. It's a silly movie. It's a very goofy film, but it's silly, goofy, stupid, but there's some really weird scenes that at least make it somewhat memorable. And it's lighthearted, and it's fun enough to be a goofy time that if you like lighthearted sex comedies from the 80s and you haven't seen it, it's worth at least a watch. You know, it stars Scott Baio, who would later be in Charles in Charge, the TV show. And now that I think about it, what this makes me think of, you know, back in the day, you had those live-action Disney movies, like Kurt Russell starred in The Computer That Wore Tennis Shoes, and, you know, those type of movies. Imagine you took one of those type of movies, instead of Kurt Russell, you got Scott Baio, and they put a little bit of that teen sex, where you got some titties in there. Because really, the other comparison, think of Terry, Stephen King's Terry, but instead of a horror film, that was a lighthearted teen sex comedy. Because it's another teen, instead of a girl, it's a guy, Scott Baio, and he gets the powers of telekinetic ability, in which pops tops. So you see a lady in her bra, or after winning a baseball game, what's a deem? Baseball game, there's the opposing team, some of the people are pissed at him, and they're giving him shit, so Scott Baio pops the lady's tops off, and you see titties, and more titties, and then the guys mooning him, picks him up with his mind, like, oh, where am I going? And the mooners, the bye-bye honeymooners, they get floated away. They just float away. Their asses float away. It's a full moon. They're floating away. And that's what I mean. Like, it's not a classic or anything, but it's a decent time waster at the very least. Because it's lighthearted. Scott Baio, I didn't mind. It's funny because at the beginning, he's looking like the Nutty Professor. And that's the kind of world you're in, where you're watching Scott Baio, and he's playing this computer geek genius. Although for a genius, it takes him a long fucking while for him to realize he's got telekinetic abilities. I'll say that, but... And what I meant by the weirdness, I would say that's the number one positive, is the weirdness in this movie. Scott Baio, before this happens, the experiments he's doing, number one, doing stuff with marijuana, and they're in a school, and like in the classroom where there's all these beakers and stuff, and over here there's like the marijuana plants. I think it's in school, maybe not, but I know it's somewhere, I forget. Maybe it was in school. I say it because a teacher tried to tell on them to the principal, and then by the time they got there, it's gone. But the weirder thing is to test the effects of diving under the influence. Diving, like in the water. He takes mice. I guess it's supposed to be alcohol. And then it's not. But it's supposed to be mice in little diving suits in the water. That's something I see every day. It was supposed to be rats underwater and little like diving suits with like a little hose up. I don't know why, just something about my... That's fucking weird. Like, and they're trying to make it move as if it's, alive in there. That actual rat is in, a mouse is in there. Like, what the fuck is this movie? But that's kind of the fun of it. And this is definitely, this is 1982, so it's definitely in the days of on PC. One of the students, Scott Baio's buddy, has sex with a teacher on a desk. Nowadays, that'd be a big no-no. But I think that's... As much as we make fun of the fact that teenagers, like high schoolers, always look like they're 30 years old, I kind of realize in retrospect, I don't really complain about that anymore, because it kind of made sense. Because if high schoolers would be, a lot of them would be under 18. So if you're doing these teen sex comedies or horror films or whatever, if you get a 15, 16-year-old, you put them in a situation where they're supposed to have sex or drugs or whatever, and you know they're 15, 16 years old, that makes things a lot more uncomfortable when you're watching it. That makes things a lot more eerie, leery, like, ugh. Like, maybe you try to deal with it because it's a movie, but in real life. But when you see, okay, they're supposed to be 15, 16, 17, they're doing this, but your mind is seeing that they're fucking 30 or 25 or 22. It's like psychologically your mind is able to grasp that easier without being creeped out. Maybe that doesn't make any sense, but that's kind of the thing I've noticed watching these films again. I'm like, I wonder... That's not the only reason. That's probably not even the major reason. But I wonder if that is one of the more subtle reasons to why they did that a lot back in the day. Casting 25, 30-year-olds for high schoolers. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. Before I get to the other weirder stuff, the actual setup is during one of these experiments, there's a spill. You get this really crappy looking flashy effects that look like out of the computer wore tennis shoes type of movie back in the day, of the Walt Disney movies, or something that'd be out of like a TV worthy effects. And now he's got the abilities of telekinesis. Again, what does he use it for? Boom, buttons pop off, see her in a bra, move stuff around a lab, breaks a girl's glasses, which is funny because a girl gets her fucking glasses broken, but she doesn't seem freaked out. If I got my fucking glasses broken, I'd be worried, like, oh, what the fuck, dude? You could cut my fucking eyeball. Because I've had my eyeball cut because it was in a car accident. back in middle school and had my fucking this eyeball cut and my glasses at the time disappeared. So I know how that is. It's not fucking fun. It's not fun. So yeah, I wouldn't be having the mellow reaction she fucking had. And he's either dealing with his bitchy mom and dad. Stabman Crothers is in the film from Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, among others. It's all cool. It was cool to see Statman Crothers. Always nice to see him in there. He played... What voice was he in Transformers? My friend Michael, he would know this. The voice in Transformers. Statman Crothers' voice. Damn it. I'm not knowledgeable on Transformers, so I don't remember. He was in the 80s Transformers movie. But he's been a lot of stuff. Statman Crothers. And he was fun to see him in the movie. And pretty much it seems like they could have done a lot more with the telekinetic stuff, because it seems like when you get into... There's like a little section in the film where it seems like played down to more of a romantic comedy thing. And it's not really a highbrow type of movie. To get into the weird... Sorry, I'm kind of preparing myself to describe this weird shit in the movie. Spoilers. For example, there's a moment where Scott Baio, all these experiments I'm doing with the weed, I have to get rid of it. Burn it. Statman Crothers like, hey, how's it going? The smoke from it gets on Statman Crothers, and he gets so fucking high. He gets so high, he dreams that he's riding with Albert Einstein. He's chased by his wife, who is shooting at him with cartoon salamis. He's talking about... he doesn't call her a bitch, but it's like, yo, that bitch, you always take my salami. Someone's put some shit on my mind. And like he's riding with Albert Einstein, and his wife is chasing him, and the fucking shooting salami that becomes like cartoon salami. I'm like, what the fuck is this movie, man? I mean, I guess it makes sense. You're gonna be high. That'll be some weird shit you're thinking of. Okay, another weird scene. Before that, when Scott Baio is trying to deal with his telekinetic powers, he's got a model spaceship, and it's not quite a Millennium Falcon, and it's not quite the Enterprise. It's almost like a mix between the two. It's like, it looks like the Enterprise shape-wise, but made out of parts from the Millennium Falcon, like the outside nature. It's like they want to do the Enterprise with the saucer and then the two, but it's not quite. And then he's imagining it going through his fish tank, and he's moving around to his dog, and then all of a sudden he pictures a parody of Star Trek, that inside the ship is a fake Star Trek crew with a bunch of actors. One guy even calls the other Spock, and they talk about how, what was the line, like, watch out, it's a giant sheepdog. Because it's this crew, fake crew, and no, it's nobody from the actual Star Trek. It's like a bunch of people in similar uniforms, and on the view screen is Scott Baio's dog. And again, as he's moving this, I guess he's pictures in his head. To the fact that they literally showed a fake Star Trek like parody within this, of inside the toy model ship. Not what I expected. Even his mom and dad are bitching at him, so he has a ventriloquist dummy, and he raises up and scares his mom. So later on, his mom has two exorcist there. And Scott Baio comes down with the dummy, and the dummy flies, and he's like moving the dummy while these two people are trying to do an exorcism on the ventriloquist dummy. Then Scott Baio leaves. I mean, like I said, the Scott Baio, he does fine. He seems kind of an affable, likable type of guy. The other actors, they do fine as well. I don't really have much issue with this kind of movie. I mean, I've seen much worse. Maybe I'm just being lenient on the type of film this is. Cast-wise, I should say. There's really nothing cast-wise that made me angry or mad or upset. It did seem like a movie that didn't really know where it was going. It was, okay, there's a baseball game, and he wins the baseball game. Okay, this happens, this happens, this happens. And then you get a little bit of a love story. And when it got to the point where him and his buddy using this telekinesis to fuck people out of gambling, I was really losing interest. I'm like, really? This kid has the power of telekinesis in a high school. The best you come up with is fucking with people, gambling. I forget what it is because I don't gamble, but you know that thing that spins, you drop it and it lands on the right thing. Well, he, in his mind. I'm like, this is where we're going with. Thankfully, it picks up at the end because the end is, I thought it was kind of funny to do a comedy version of the ending of Carrie, where it's prom, but of course instead of going catastrophic like that way, he just has people lose their clothes, dress comes off, oh, we get to see their panties, we get to see their bras, so I can't complain about that. Like I said, the effects, the stuff moving around, it's fine for the time, for the budget. When it tries to be more exquisite with the effects, like the idea when he first gets his powers, the accident, it's very low budget, like TV worthy effects, not in a good way. So, I mean, it did lose my interest as it went on. I felt like there's a lot more you could tap into this whole comedy telekinesis with, again, this era of movies and era of, high school mentality. I'm actually surprised it wasn't a raunchy movie. Maybe that was done on purpose because this is a year after Porky's. And, that Porky's really brought in the rush of teen sex comedies. So I guess I'm just a bit surprised it's more lighthearted than Stevie or Perverted. I mean, there's still, titties is nice, but for the most part, it's fairly lighthearted. I'm kind of 50-50 on whether I would like it more crazy of that nature or lighthearted, find the way it is. But yeah, the movie itself, it's a time waster. It's nothing. I think it does have a Blu-ray by Olive Films. There's no features on it. Scott Baio was proud of it. There's an interview, a written interview, that he said he enjoyed working on the film. He heard stories that Stabman Crothers was high, smoked pot every day. He's like, I don't know, but that's what was the talk around set. And he said he liked the making the film, and the movie made money, which it did. It made like about $16 million. And back to the day, movies cost minute. So $60 million could net you a pretty good profit. And it did well enough on VHS. There was a sequel. Not with Scott Baio, but there was a sequel called Zapped again. So, yeah, again, at the end of the day, I think there's more you could have done telekinetic-wise. The whole gambling stuff, the section between the middle and before the third act kind of slumped in there, kind of dipped down, just wasn't as interesting. Yeah, it was what it was. It was nothing I will watch again, but it was fine for what it is. If you're wondering what this is, it's certain names, so I don't forget and I have to look it up. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.